Good day everyone, I am Rachel Guzman, and in this video I shall delve on the English of Switzerland and Hong Kong. And here's the content of my lesson. And now, let's begin with the English in Switzerland. What you're seeing right now is the census of Swiss people that uses English. It is quite few, right? That being said, according to the 2013 population census, 4.4 of the Swiss population use English as their main language, which constitutes a notable increase from the 2000 census, in which the use of English as a first language only stood at 1%. But this time, I will delve more on the rise of English in Switzerland. When speakers of different Swiss languages interact with one another, English is the language that is most frequently used. However, the prominence of English in Switzerland is relatively recent. According to Dormiller 2002, before World War II, the presence of English could be felt only where the citizens of the Anglo-American countries came into contact with Swiss citizens, and these Swiss nationals only ever spoke English with the other English speakers, and they never did so with the other Swiss nationals. And that being said, this style continue or the Swiss people continue to use English with the non-Swiss people. And there are examples of the way language or the English language is used in Switzerland, and that is mainly observable in the advertisements, which barely show how standard English is used. Others, however, demonstrate that how English can be used ironically by verbatim translating French idioms in the context of the Swiss post. Furthermore, considering the sheer quality of information provided in English in Switzerland for the benefit of foreigners, many Swiss people's contact with English is likely to be as significant as their amount of contact with other Swiss languages. If the material is presented only in French and in English, a German speaker might look at the English version rather than French. With that being said, English can be considered as a default language in Switzerland. This idea that English is a default language can also seen as the general avoidance of having to state things twice. Presenting everything in both French and German also demands much more effort of the speaker and as well as the writer. That is why they are using English. To understand more the examples of English in Switzerland, let's watch this video.
Switzerland has four official languages. But since nobody wants to learn four languages, everybody just learns English so that they can speak together. It is completely normal for when a Swiss French person comes on a Swiss German television station for them all to just speak English together. So a lot of the Swiss national companies have names or slogans in English, and a lot of packaging will have English in big print on the front. Now, as an English speaker, you might think, hey, yes, there's English everywhere, I don't have to learn any languages. But the thing is, they don't actually have English as their communicative language for English speakers. It's so that they can talk to each other, and somehow English is cool. So if you actually want to read the preparation instructions, you have to be able to read German or French. English is just on the front. And sometimes they use English words to seem cool, but they're not actually the English words that English speakers would use. For example, they call music videos music clips. So you'll see English everywhere, but it won't always make sense to an English speaker. or it'll make sense, it'll just seem kind of strange. For example, kitchen. I see that everywhere. It's so often that it's not a mistake. They have, for example, Asian kitchen instead of saying Asian cuisine or Asian cooking, which is what they actually mean. But it makes sense to Swiss people, so that's why it's there.
And here are the other examples of English in Switzerland. And that's the end of the lesson in English and Switzerland. And at this juncture, I shall be discussing the English and Hong Kong. To give you gist of ideas, Hong Kong, as one of the major financial hubs on the world, is a city with a distinctive fusion of Eastern and Western influences. It's formerly a British colony with a population that is made up of Cantonese residents of Hong Kong, mainland Chinese, and foreigners with a variety of cultural backgrounds. Since Hong Kong became a colony at the end of Opium War, the 1842 Treaty of Nanjing made open cities such as cities of Amoy, which has a new name Xiamen, Canton, the new name Guangdong, Fuzhou, Ningbo, and Shanghai. These became the treaty ports in which the British and other Western nations could conduct trade. Moreover, Bolton 2003 mentioned that there were three different groups of English traders, such as the employees of East India Company, which is the most powerful trading in the world, the traders from England and Scotland, and lastly are the American traders. These traders communicated with the Chinese through Chinese Pidgin and English. To add a fact, the development of Pidgin in this particular time was that Chinese forbade the teaching of Chinese to foreigners and only allowed a certain group of Chinese, specifically the middlemen, to interact with the foreigners. Hence, this Pidgin English was considered something less than a proper language. Nevertheless, English remained the primary means of communication in between these nations. Hence, there are examples of the use of Canton jargon that are commonly used at that time, such as can do, meaning will it do, chop chop means very quickly, chow chow means food or to eat, cow cow means to be noisy, angry, or an uproar. Fan Kuei, which means foreign devil. Next day or tomorrow next day means the day after tomorrow. Fijon, Pidgin, meaning from business. And lastly, that no make good Fijon, meaning the thing is ill done. And to proceed with the another type of linguistic features in English in Hong Kong, we have the coin age. When you say coin age, it is about inventing new words, an extension of a name of a product, for example, Xerox, Kodak, and so on. But in Hong Kong English, these are the following examples of coined age. Mainland means China. Mainlander means people from China. Tried members, which means local gangsters. Banana, which means westernized Chinese. Canto pop, which means a popular Cantonese songs. And lastly, chop, which means seal or stump. And as you notice, these localized items can easily be found even in local English newspaper. And also, there is a variation of British English. And that is due to the fact that Hong Kong was once a colony of the Great Britain and that American culture is now spreading fast around the world, and Hong Kong English is the mix of British English and American English. People get a high degree of access to American English through TV, dramas, movies, and so on. For instance, there are words we use such as autumn, holiday, and lift, which are from British English. Meanwhile, the use of corn, movie, eraser are from the American English. What is meant to imply here is that the standard English does not contain only one single version. Rather, it is divided into British English and American English. Each variety is embedded with its own territorial culture. For example, American English prefers words having clear and interpretable meanings, which can be revealed on spellings. American use baggage instead of luggage, eraser instead of rubber. This shows that their culture or the American culture are more direct compared to the British. Similar to the case of American English, the Hong Kong English also carries the culture of Hong Kong. Words like mainlanders and banana show the type of people that Hong Kong is concerned about. A culture should never be banned or regarded as bad. So, Hong Kong English vocabulary is not a kind of broken or bad English. And another feature is the simplification of consonant cluster. When two or more consonants come together, it is considerably difficult for Hong Kongers to pronounce. Therefore, speakers keep only the first consonant and delete the rest to simplify the consonant clusters. And here are the examples. In standard English, the word is friend, but in Hong Kong English, it becomes fin. You'll see here that the first consonant sound was kept. Next examples are price, which in Hong Kong English becomes pies, black becomes buck, please becomes peace, adapt, which becomes adapt. And apart from pronunciation, Hong Kong English is also distinct in its grammar. The grammar in Hong Kong English is influenced by Cantonese. As example of English in Hong Kong, I will introduce the concept of sentence final particles. When you say sentence final particles, the words such as are, la, ga, and were are used at the end of English sentences, and these particles come from Cantonese. Hence, they convey different meanings. To show example, observe this conversation. In the message conversation example, were and la are used. According to Matthews and Yip 2011, war indicates newsworthiness, showing new information, while la indicates suggestion in Cantonese. To briefly recapitulate this lesson, Switzerland has strengthened its linguistic adaptability as a political and cultural entity. Numerous young Swiss people still appear to place a high value on their multilingualism, and this seems to have implications for identity formation and growth that other studies of multilingual contexts in various parts of the world may wish to explore. On the other hand, English is now used more frequently among Chinese in Hong Kong, as well as in Hong Kong itself. Hong Kong is therefore multilingual in the sense that many different languages are spoken there. And here are the three references that I've used in my lesson. And that's it for the summary and conclusion. I hope that you have learned something about this lesson, which is entitled Varieties in English, specifically in Switzerland and Hong Kong. That's all. Thank you.